Eli. We're actually trying to go live from actually Instagram. It's kind of something new and something different, so I'm gonna have to try to learn how to mute the
Popping
button
our
over.
cherries. Oh, Instagram.
Yep. Yeah. So give me a moment how, because this is gonna be a something totally learning, something different. I figured I would do something a little different. Mhm.
While Jay's trying to figure that out, if you guys are tuning in tonight, you're listening to Out of Rhythm Fantasy Sports, Week 16 edition. Got a couple more weeks left of the fantasy playoffs, and then probably going to jump into maybe some college stuff or maybe some baseball stuff with Donovan into the new year. So just kind of brushing up, finishing up the last 2 weeks of fantasy here. Got some DFS tonight, so got some double the amount actually. We're doing double the I'm doing double the gold star players, doing double the DFS guys. We're kind of combining our waivers tonight, so it'll be a quicker stream that moves by faster. And like Jay was saying, we're trying to stream on Instagram tonight for the first time. So yeah, it should be a
Actually,
fun and quick stream.
actually, I just ended it because I was hearing echoes, and
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
like, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
it
that's
was kind of
fine.
a pain in the arse. I was because I was hearing echoes back and forth, and so I was just like, screw it, I am just going to end the video and would say whatever, because yeah, because you have to have like two windows open and whatnot. So I really don't know what was having to like mute that over there, and us trying to do what we could do here in StreamYard. So yeah, I'll have to try to figure that out, I guess, because yeah, that was kind of a pain in the arse. I mean, I could, yeah, I think I'm just gonna discard that video. Yep, discard that because
Well,
I don't know what was really
well,
kind
it,
of going on. So it was kind of a shit thing, I guess.
well, I was gonna say the Wright brothers. Remember the guys that invented aviation? Pretty much, like, remember how their first few flights just, you know, they couldn't keep the plane up. Well, that's us. So, but that's fine. We'll get this figured out, or some variation of it moving forward. So, yep, yep, yep. Enough of that. Out of here, out of here. But if you want to go back and listen to any of the previous streams and not have to deal with the bonkers insanity going on over on Instagram, because apparently they don't want us to stream. You can go Spotify. We love Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all over the Podbean, a bunch of different places. And this stream, obviously, too, will be up after we're done. So it'll probably be up tonight. So if you want to share it with somebody, if you want to go back and listen to any of the previous episodes, because like I said, we're probably gonna be changing up the format a little bit in January. So enjoy the current stuff while you can. And if you want to, you know, hop on over to Discord. There's always some good banter over there. Lots of good people that are into fantasy. So if you want to be a part of that, space, head on over, sign up for that, and then like and subscribe for our channel video. It all helps. We comments. We're still waiting on some comments. Still waiting on some more subscribers. So you can always help us with that if you haven't done that yet.
Yeah, yeah, just make sure you follow all our contents on YouTube and our our Spotify, Apple, and Google Play. Make sure you follow all that stuff over there and whatnot. So make sure you just follow all that stuff going on over there, and yeah. So yeah, I'm just gonna boot this. So we're pretty much just gonna go live on our Facebook and YouTube here tonight. So I figured I'd try Instagram. I'll have to work the kinks out in that. So um yeah, Merry Christmas to you, Eric. Thank you for being here tonight. Yeah, it's just
Good
one
night,
of
Eric.
those
Thanks, bro.
um it's just one of those things where it was just kind of added new to StreamYard, and then I'm trying to work out the kinks and stuff like that. And I was gonna try to tried to actually learn or trying to see how they kind of did all things and mute and all that stuff. So you have to kind of do some other stuff, just stuff that a little bit too probably too complicated. So, but oh well, it is what it is. We're just gonna recap the weekend, talk a little DFS, and Eli will have some waivers. I didn't do any of that stuff because I was out of town for the weekend. I drove home Monday night, and technically, I really didn't want to have a show tonight, but I just threw together just a couple highlighted players for you guys. Eli did a couple guys too as well, but we are here. But yeah, the other thing too is I know Eli mentioned about us. We'll be here through week 16. I don't know about 17 or not. I think we'll stop at week 16 because 17 is just kind of really it's at the point where a lot of people kind of stop really paying attention to fantasy football because a lot of people end up being out, and it's just finding the right content to have viewers to kind of come into your channel too as well. And that's the thing we'll kind of be kind of stepping into a little bit. We'll probably step into doing some more college spotlights. I know we'll have some baseball stuff here too as well, Donovan. If you haven't, Donovan in our Discord has some ranking stuff up in our Discord on the baseball side. So if you need to come over and check that out. And then we'll try to do working on some dynasty stuff too as well, because both Eli and I are in a dynasty league, and I am starting another dynasty league too as well. So I mean, it's gonna be kind of another startup. I think I'm gonna cut it at 10. It's just gonna be a normal. Your standard one instead of a super flex. So it's just one of those things where trying something different. I want some other people to try to get into dynasty and give some people a different aspect or a different look to just fantasy in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and we think Dynasty is going to be picking up steam with all the new college TV rights deals and NIL, and with all that, college going to be booming. So we think in 2024 kind of head more in that direction, and we'll convene. We're actually probably see each other over Christmas, so we'll come up with a game plan. But yeah, we're gonna keep, like I said, we plan to keep this 52 week a year show. So we'll find something. We got Donovan over on the baseball side. We do baseball as well, so we can always jump over there. So you're always gonna get you're not gonna lose the content from us for sure. We'll get a game plan together. And how was your trip out to Rapid?
It was all right. It wasn't too bad. I mean, I kind of slept a little bit. I worked, stayed up, packed, and left town, and slept for a little while. And the weekend wasn't too shabby. Did some drinking, and played some games, did some sports stuff, and just checked my lineups and stuff like that, and watched a little bit of football. And kind of, Sunday was kind of a relaxed day a little bit, but watched much football as I could. I red zone and kind of watching some of the Chiefs game there. And man, I have to tell you, Rashid Rice is something else, man. Something else. And we told you guys at the beginning of the summer that this kid was actually going to be somebody in this offense, only just because they didn't have.
We called it.
Yes, we did. Only because they didn't have the wide receiver. We actually call this, in our eyes, more like a dink and dunk offense. I mean, Sky Moore.
Yeah.
And who's that dummy that got the penalty? I can't think of his name because he should be long gone after all that crap. So they don't have a wide receiver to open up the field. For these deep threats. And Rashid Rice is one of these guys, and you would have to think after this year with the other LSU dude or whoever it was that they tried to have make the roster and failed to do so, and I think he got cut or something. I don't know, but they need another deep threat in this offense. I mean, Travis Kelce isn't going to be there too much longer. This guy's getting old as dirt, and sooner or later we're all going to be thinking about Travis Kelce. That we're going to have to start looking elsewhere for these tight ends, and I know I might be talking about one of them tonight. So stay tuned for that too. But just in general, Kelsey, he's getting older, but even though Kelsey is the number one target, they have to have somebody else there. And the Chiefs don't really look like the Chiefs this year. But Rashee Rice, man, I have to tell you, we said this summer. It took a little bit of time, but man, this guy's blossoming right in front of our eyes. Right in front of our eyes. I can't believe it, dude. I'm stoked. I'm happy. I think this will be a guy we'll be talking about over this after the season's over with. Where does he fall in our rankings? Kind of where we kind of our overall rankings of where, like, just in general. We don't do like weekly rankings because it changes weekly, and with us working quite a bit, it'd be kind of hard for us to give you a ballpark of where we think these guys kind of land, for elite to second tier, third tier guys. And I know it's just one of those things that. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. If you want to, hey, it's my party, and I'll cry if I want to. We can kick this off with the Chiefs and Patriots. That's no problem. I'll back up what Jay was saying. Rashee Rice, second round pick. We said he was going to pop. We looked at their roster. Okay, it hasn't been the same since Tyreek left. I mean, he was a number 1, 2, 3, and 4 receiver. You could get away with MVS. You could get away with some of the junk that they've had, in their 3, 4 spots at receiver. With Travis Kelce and Tyreek, they covered a lot of ground. Now, I think they're going to get Mike Evans from Tampa. Sad to see him go, but I would assume they'll get a guy like that, some veteran guy that'll maybe take a little bit less to come in, and that'll help Rashee Rice. What? That'll help Rashee Rice too. And then you don't have to be the folk. You get a veteran. You get a guy. Like kind of like what DeAndre Hopkins has done for Tennessee this year. I think Mike Evans would have similar impact to the Chiefs passing game. And Rashee and they don't have a tight end in waiting. I really don't think so. I think they're gonna have to draft somebody. I would assume maybe a second round pick on a tight end. The Chiefs. So, and they're still winning. I mean, but I mean, Mahomes. If you had him, man, where he was drafted at, earlier in the year, if you're in a redraft year-to-year league, like. He probably either left you out of the playoffs or you got bounced in the first round this past weekend. I mean, he really has had, for Patrick Mahomes standards, he's had a down year. And CEH is about to get cut. Pacheco's banged up right now, so I mean he's not himself. And then on the Patriots side, I guess Zeke is their feature back. I mean the team's awful, but I mean it's helped me. I have 2 shares of Zeke on my 5 teams. I have Zeke on 2 of them, and he's been a pleasant surprise, especially the second half of the year. So I mean he's really raked it in. I like we've been talking about Demario Douglas for a while. I like Demario Douglas. I don't like the quarterback. I don't like the OC. I don't like a lot of stuff about this team, but I do like Demario Douglas, the rookie. And that's why we've done these college spotlights, man. Is like guys like Demario Douglas or Rashee Rice, you would have known about 9 months before you did. I mean, we would have spotlighted these guys, and that. So, and that's kind of why we do that and why we're going to do more of them, because we want, especially if you're doing dynasty, it's to your benefit to like, so-and-so is going to be a 3rd round pick. I know about him. Go Falcon. Anthony's joining us tonight. It's been a minute. Yeah, no, we'll get to the Falcons in a second, man. But Hunter Henry, of all the junk the Patriots have had, been through this year, dude, like, Hunter Henry's been a pleasant surprise. I think he had 66 yards, 7 catches, and a touchdown. So, big game from him. Based on the quarterback, with the mess, the Zappy and Mac Jones, I've been impressed with Hunter Henry. I think he's been probably a top 12 fantasy tight end, maybe top 10. I mean, he's had a damn good year. But that's just my thoughts on that game. It's kind of went like you think it would go. Chiefs won by 10.
Right. Totally, for sure. Yeah, totally, for sure. But yeah, it's the other thing too is with doing these spotlights and stuff like that. It's you learn a little bit more about a player and where he falls, and you know that the teams that a team that would draft this guy, is it going to benefit them and him and his progress to actually become fantasy relevant for guys like us that are into fantasy football, and going to maybe take that risk on a guy like DeMarcus, so I mean, or these other guys that we've been talking about, like Neighbors, he will be a first round pick for sure, but we'll it's going to come to the point is, especially in redraft, are we going to be like drafting this guy high, or third, fourth round, so these are all things that we might, after the draft, we might do some mock drafts and stuff like that too as well. But it's it's coming to the end of the year. It's a lot of us has checked out, and me myself, I'm still kind of hanging in, but I know I just want to talk about other stuff right now. That's just me in general. But you know, as you say,
well, no, but
I was just gonna say real quick here with Zeke.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Just with you and with Zeke kind of taking over that role, like you mentioned, you got some shares of him. He's kind of on his last leg, but a lot of us, if we took an advantage of actually picking up Zeke, he had 14 points this weekend. I mean, he's the week before he had a little bit more points too as well. So I mean, I can't remember what he had 35 points last week too. So he's getting touches to helping us out right at the end of the fantasy playoffs, which is benefit for you, whoever, or me, whoever else is actually, it's got some shares of him. But go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like we were saying, we'll finish out, we know a lot of people miss the playoffs, and, it's kind of, now it's at the minutia point, but, we'll finish out strong here. Get you guys set. If you are still competing, or you're trying to go for the toilet bowl or consolation bowl, whatever your speed is, so we are, yeah. No, I know where Jay's coming from on that. Yeah, but yeah, we'll hang in there and speaking of hanging in there, hopefully Anthony hung in there, because we'll talk about the Falcons real quick. That's a shit show. In terms of how it correlates to we do with fantasy and dynasty. Desmond, what do you think about Desmond Ridder going forward, Jay? Like, Heineke's, I guess, the starting quarterback again. Like, Desmond Ridder in dynasty, do you drop? If you need the roster spot, obviously I think you drop him. Obviously, it'd be nice to keep him on the bench. I have a share of Tannehill in one of our dynasty leagues, and I'm keeping him on the bench because you never know. Tannehill, when he is, and I know he's older now, and Levis is the starter, but that's a situation where Tannehill might be, he might go Joe Flacco and be a starting quarterback next year, and then boom, he's on your bench somewhere. So I don't know. Where do you stand with Desmond Ridder? Like, going into 2024, maybe, because we know he's done for this year. I mean, it's going to be Heineke out from here on out. But
this is what I think of Desmond Ridder.
Oh God, this is so disgusting! I think I'm gonna puke.
That sums up everything.
I wanted to give the guy a chance. I remember him at Cincinnati. I wanted to give the guy a chance. He was a great college quarterback. He's had a few moments. I mean, he's been garbage in terms of like winning games and screwing up. But I mean, he's had a couple fantasy moments. I mean, if you had to play him earlier in the year, he had a couple 25 plus point PPR fantasy games. So I mean, Eric said drop him. Yeah. Definitely in redraft. Yeah, redraft. Yeah, he's a goner. But I don't know. Are they gonna move off him? Like, if are they gonna trade him? Go get Justin Fields? Like, what the hell do the Falcons do at quarterback? And if Anthony's still watching, why don't you chime in, man? What the hell are the Falcons gonna do at quarterback? Just junk. How do you lose to the Panthers 9-7? Huh? You want some views? You want some views? Get the camera over here. I'll talk about the goddamn Panthers and Falcons for 5 minutes. There's your YouTube short clip right there. The things I could say about them.
It's
This garbage, man. Garbage. They had a
it
half.
is.
Jamie, they had a third. Jamie, they had I think they had like 30,000 people in the stands for an NFL game, which is a joke. I mean, you get more in an SDSU game.
It's very sad. I was well, I didn't know it was actually kind of raining, so I was kind of watching some of Bryce Young, and I was watching. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm like, where in the hell are you throwing the damn ball to? It's just like, dude, this guy looks horrible. I mean, just all in all, the Panthers looked horrible. I mean, the Falcons, I figured they would have won. They would have beaten that. That would have been a good game, a good run game for them offensive wise, but that never happened. I'm just like, really? It's sad because if you think about it, a lot of these teams that you would thought should be blowing out other teams are not doing it. I mean, this is another example of, that game was to me compared to that whole the Vikings game, only winning by like 3 or 6 points field goals. It's like, getting the one field goal and, not making no offense, not getting any points in almost like the whole game, first quarter, second quarter, third, and then only one score at the end. And it's like what the hell, dude? I mean,
Trash.
it
Just
is very trash. I mean, when you
Trash.
look at it,
paper. Try some paper somewhere. I want to crumple it up. It's just trash. And you have any more thoughts on the Panthers Falcons? I don't know. What about Bryce Young? I know you look mighty stupid. Redraft, it's easy. Okay, drop him or don't even roster him. He's a bum. He's a scrub right now. But in Dynasty, do you risk the fact maybe 2 years he gets a better OC? He gets some more, I don't know, some better weapons, and all of a sudden he becomes Drew Brees or something. I mean, where do people go with Bryce, especially in Dynasty?
In Dynasty, I mean that's gonna be the question, because in Dynasty you can't even play him. I mean, he's pretty much a guy who's actually just taking up your bench right now.
A roster spot, yeah.
Yeah, it pretty much is. I mean, he's had maybe 4 good games out of this year. I mean, with a couple, 24 points, 30 points, 25 points, and then against Tampa Bay, 30 points. So it's, I mean, I think slowly but surely they don't have the wide receivers. They only got Bijan. I mean, they have a couple good running backs. Pitts is not really doing anything. I mean, this team in general just looks like garbage. It makes me want to puke every time someone brings up the Falcons. I despise the Falcons. I don't like the Falcons. I'll say the same thing about the Ravens. This is going to be another Ravens Falcons. I don't like these teams at all. It's sad.
Fly away, Birdie.
Yeah. That's all I can say about this. I mean, Bryce Young just needs to get more weapons around him. I think he could be a little bit better quarterback. With him getting his feet wet this year, I think it's a good learning experience for him, because they actually stuck with him. Besides, Ritter getting knocked out, bringing in another quarterback, and then Ritter back in again. It's just one of those things I was talking about earlier this year, where teams are just, like Sam Howell, he couldn't get anything done this week. What they do, they toss in Brissett, and McLaurin goes off for 141 yards and a touchdown. So it's just like, dude, what the hell, dude? Sam, you should get your shit together. I mean, it's just
it's so hard with a guy like Sam Howell. If you jump over to Washington here, it's hard with a guy like Sam Howell, because he's the 8th ranked fantasy quarterback this year. Or he might be. Yeah, I think he's still. Yeah, I think he's still in the top 10. If you want to double check that, I thought I read he was the 8th ranked fantasy quarterback. So, it's been hit and miss, but certain guys obviously are going to benefit from different players being in, and we know Samuel. He benefited a lot from Sam Howell, so it'll be interesting. I know he had a good game this past weekend again, and I'm going to be talking about him later. But Washington, they got a few players to work with. I mean, McLaurin's solid, Samuel's solid. Dotson's solid. I mean, he hasn't had the kind of second year we thought he would. Logan Thomas kind of had a resurgence this year. Brian Robinson's up there in running back fantasy rankings. Antonio Gibson is, he's solid as a, second guy. Rodriguez, we talked about him. We did a riser segment on him, month or so ago. So I mean, they got a few pieces, man. I just think with a better coach, like Rivera's got to go. I think they have to get an offensive guy in here and probably a quarterback. I know Sam Howell's played well, but there have been other guys throughout the history of the, Derek Anderson. I don't know if you remember Derek Anderson from the Browns like 15 years ago, but he had a monster fantasy year and then came back to earth the next year and they cut him. So there, just because you have more recently, Blake Bortles. Remember Blake Bortles had 35 touchdowns in a season, and and then now he's like probably third stringer somewhere with the Rams, I think. So, that might be Sam Howell. Sam Howell might. Oh, I remember him from the Commanders in 2023, and then 2 years from now, Sam Howell's a third string guy somewhere. So it'd be interesting to see. But yeah, I don't know. Is there anywhere? Are they going to go with Brissett the rest of the way, or is it just
no? Sam. He's
okay.
He's starting this weekend, so
okay.
Yeah. And I just think it's just one of those things with the coach going out, and and them not having a identity to kind of like really figure out what they want to do, if they want to be a pass heavy team or a running, but or run heavy team. So it's just they can't. I don't know if they really know what they really want to do. I mean, because they got the weapons. McLaurin. I mean, if you think about it, Lauren is he's their ace. Their ace from the hole, dude. I mean, they're wasting away talent. I mean, that's the sad thing about it. I mean, Dotson. I mean, last year, I mean, he had himself a good start, and then then it's kind of like boom, he's not there either. They got the weapons. They just need to figure out what the hell they're going to do with if it is going to be Sam or is it going to be Brissett. I mean, it's Sam is their guy. I think he's got the talent to do it. It's just I think that's the organization not figuring out what the hell they're doing, and then maybe them doing a stadium and just some other side stuff too as well. But that's just my opinion on that.
Complete shit show. You want to jump over to Dallas and Buffalo? That's probably a sore topic for you, but like. You can't now. If they're going to lose games, Jay, they're going to lose games. It happens. Buffalo's a good team. I get it. Like on the fantasy end of it, Dak probably screwed a few people. If this was your, if you didn't have a first round bye, like let's say you were in like the 3-6 matchup in your league, Dak probably cost you the matchup. He shit the bed, and Pollard, the whole offense, man. It's just. I don't blame CeeDee Lamb's a monster. I don't blame him. I don't blame Jake Ferguson, another monster. Brandon Cooks, from what I saw, was catching what he could. I mean, Dak let everybody down. I put that loss on Dak.
Yeah,
Buffalo's defense. They're decent, but their injury. I mean, they're ravaged with injuries, man. There's no reason Dallas shouldn't have been able to put up at least 24 on these guys.
Oh yeah, most definitely. They should have did something, with them. And that was the thing about Dallas too here, that on the road they don't really do too well on the road, but at home they're putting up 40, 45 points on people at home. So they kind of do struggle on the road a little bit, and with them, coming into Buffalo a little bit, weather-wise probably a little chilly up there, I'm sure, over this weekend, and just kind of getting themselves put together. And I thought this was going to be a little bit more of a closer game, and I was kind of watching that game, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing, Dallas? Just watching Dak not get anything done, and then I just kind of turned it off. I'm like, yeah, I kind of had enough of this, because I got screwed by Dak, because I should have started Lamar over Dak, but that's my own fault. That's my own damn fault. So quickly out there, anybody in the fantasy playoffs, how do you guys do? Let us know in the comments. If you won your matchup, if you had a first round bye, and I'll probably enlighten on a lot of my fantasy playoffs here too as well, because yeah, it wasn't a good start. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, as far as Dallas,
and I was gonna say quick, just on the Buffalo side, they got that. Might talk about them before the end of the show too. Again, I can't stress enough. If you've got Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, or Josh Allen and Gabe Davis this weekend against that Chargers. Chargers got lit up for 63 points by goddamn Aiden O'Connell. I mean, that team is just trash, just pure trash. Josh Allen is going to single-handedly take you to your fantasy finals. Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, it's Diggs is he's the lead guy. I think the Brown or not the Brown. I think the Bills kind of figured out how to use their weapons finally, and and they pretty much did the ground pound thing, and it was working. So it worked against Dallas, and yeah, I think that Eli will be talking about a guy here after we get done here, just kind of recapping a few more things here. And um yeah, I think Dallas is gonna rebound after this loss. But it kind of puts a spoiler out there for teams of what the Bills did to Dallas. Does it give them the recipe of, oh wow, well now if it gives them a recipe of how to maybe beat Dallas, and hopefully that's not the cause. It's same with the Eagles. I mean, look at some of the teams that actually put the spoiler on the Eagles, and so I mean, it's they're actually on a 3-game losing streak now. So I mean, does this open the same testament book to how to beat Dallas?
And you want to talk about? I mean, Phil. I'll just say quick, and then we can jump either one or two more. Game review, quick games,
Yeah.
quick. But I was gonna say, Eagles are struggling right now. So are the Jags. Jags are in trouble. Trevor Lawrence. I know. He played hurt last week, and this past week, I think he got concussion again or something happened. He might be in concussion protocol. That's 2 weeks in a row. They're 8-6, man. I mean, Jacksonville's in trouble. I think right now the point spread. I mean, it's an even matchup. Tampa at home against Jacksonville.
Yep.
I think we can beat them. So that's 8-7. I mean, are we talking about Jacksonville maybe missing the playoffs? And then that being a point too. Like what the hell happened? You know what I mean? Like Ridley's disappeared. Evan Ingram's kind of, Evan Ingram in the middle of the year was a beast, but he's kind of dipped off. Like if you were depending on him in some of your matchups, like he probably let you down. Zay Jones, I think he has a hamstring issue. He might be out probably this week, maybe the rest of at least for the fantasy playoffs. I mean, if you were depending on Zay Jones in a deeper league and your flex spot, I mean, you might have to see if you can get Parker Washington or Agnew, the other receiver they have. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on the Jags?
I know it's crazy to think about, because Jaguars are 8-6, the Colts are 8-6, the Texans are 8-6 too, and sad to say that the
Colts are Minshew mania, man.
It is. I think back in earlier this season, I think I had, I don't remember what I kind of predicted, but I think I had the Texans at the bottom. I think I had the Colts or Titans up there, or one of the two, either Titans or Jaguars, or Colts at the bottom. I can't remember what I had at that time, but or I think I had the Colts up in there too. Maybe the Colts as a kind of a sleeper team. The Colts are a sleeper team if you think about it. Especially with they had AR5. I think they probably would have actually had a better record, with them. But Minshew's taken, he's taken on the reins. Overall with the Jaguars having issues, I think the Colts take the division. They actually make it in the playoffs. I think the Jaguars kind of skimp out because they're not playing too well right now, and the Texans are kind of searching for identity yet. They're kind of there. TJ is actually not playing this weekend, and them starting Keenum to actually try to get them over the hump. yeah, it's a lot of questions, especially with them not having
Yeah,
their wide receivers either.
yeah. No, the Texan. I think the injury bug just kind of derailed the Texans there. I mean, it's questionable if they're going to get in the way the Bengals have been playing the last couple weeks with Jake Browning. Like I said, the Colts are picking up steam. I put that more on the Steichen, the head coach. That guy's magic, man. I mean, that's Colts are pretty dysfunctional, but they hired the right guy. I mean, I think they could put just about anybody in a quarterback and do well. Gardner Minshew is the 30th ranked fantasy player in PPR, like overall, like including everybody, running backs, tight ends, receivers, quarterbacks, 30th ranked player this year. I mean, could we have even imagined that? I mean, Gardner Minshew, I'll bring it up at the waiver segment. There's a lot of leagues Gardner Minshew's still available in, and this guy is the 30th ranked player. You know what I mean? Just incredible. And AR5 would have been right there too. I mean, he'd probably have better numbers, like Jamie was saying. I don't know about a record, but definitely the numbers. AR5 would probably be right up there with Rookie of the Year. It'd be him and Stroud, going toe to toe, and with CJ being hurt the last couple weeks. Kind of coming down the stretch, Tank Dell being out. Yeah, Houston might be in some trouble. Jacksonville might be in some trouble. I hate to say it, the Colts might win this division. I mean, it's crazy. Jonathan Taylor, I think he's going to be out again. I think Zach Moss, he should play. If you're depending on Zach Moss in your semifinal matchup, Zach Moss should play. I didn't put that in the scroll because I tried to put the more, pressing in, like guys that actually might miss the week. Like they're serious, like especially Zay Jones, like he's probably going to be out. Obviously Keaton Mitchell's out for the rest of the year, so I didn't mention that because I think Zach Moss is playing. But I think Taylor might be back for if you do make it to the finals in your league or in your consolation bracket, you might get Jonathan Taylor back in 2 weeks, or a week and a half. So yeah, Colts might be sitting pretty, especially with those two running backs, the weapons they have at receiver. A couple underrated tight ends. Minshew playing well. Yeah, I like the Colts.
Yep. Just Zach Moss does have a shoulder injury. So I would just pick up their other running back just in case, because if he's out, I mean, you're going to be blocking the other dude who had Zach Moss. So yeah, I would go out and make sure you pick up the other backup to Moss for sure. Let's just do one more real quick, and then we'll get in some highlighted players. We can maybe just talk about the. Well, how about we talk about that? We can either go Browns or Buccaneers or Bengals. You decide.
We could talk. We talk some Browns because it's Browns have some fantasy implications. Bears too. Joe Flacco, man, if you picked him up a couple weeks ago, he's probably carrying you right now, especially with all these injuries. CJ Stroud, like we were mentioning, out this past week. Trevor Lawrence been playing like junk. Go down the list. Justin Herbert out for the year. Start going down the list. Joe Flacco doesn't look too bad now, does he? That would have been a nice, sweet pickup for some people. Or in Dynasty too. I mean, I think they're going to break because he signed a contract. I think Flacco will be back next year. So if you have, Dynasty, if you were able to snag him up, you're sitting pretty, especially in a 2-quarterback Dynasty league. I mean, Flacco might be your second quarterback next year because I don't know about Watson. I know they're paying him a lot, but Watson might be traded or off the team or cut or something. I mean, he's trash. I mean, he can't play anymore. Sorry. But the Browns, Elijah Moore has been kind of a revelation too lately. I think I like the way he's been playing. He's picked up more targets since Peoples-Jones was traded to the Lions. So, Elijah Moore down the stretch here. If you were able to grab him as well, in deeper leagues, he's probably paying some dividends there. David Njoku, just an animal, just a beast. And on the flip side, the Bears, Khalil Herbert's been struggling. So is Roschon Johnson. You can rip Justin Fields all you want because he's got DJ Moore, he's got Cole Kmet, he's got some weapons. I don't put that all on him. The defense been playing better. I don't know. We're just feel it. Let's switch more to like Fields? Does Fields get traded, you think? Or how does that impact him if you've got him in like Dynasty? Obviously, keeper, I don't think he's good enough to be one of your 3 keepers in the keeper league. But in Dynasty, like where do you stand with Fields? Like, do you think he gets shipped to, New England, Atlanta, Chicago, keeps him for another year and drafts somebody, or doesn't draft somebody, or I there's so many things with the Bears. I don't know where, what they're thinking right now.
I mean, you never know, because they could say, I think we're done with this mess and let's just get rid of Fields and try to get some compensation for him, because there are teams out there that need quarterbacks, and I'm pretty sure there's some teams out there that wouldn't mind having Fields as their quarterback because they know what he can do, what he can bring. I still think, I mean, I just think he hasn't been unleashed yet. I mean, look at the year before. I mean, he was ripping it up, running wise, but I just think he can be. I think he can be a Lamar Jackson, but yeah, I just don't think he found. I don't think he fallen into the right place where he can be unlocked. Where he can have some weapons and whatnot. Because I mean, if you think about it, I mean, he's kind of almost like a Lamar, but he just hasn't found the right spot yet. But I just think with them maybe just shipping off and maybe get a Caleb Williams. Since they have a high draft pick. I mean, or if they do keep Fields, get him a wide receiver, get him Marvin Harrison Jr., get him up in this offense. I mean, that would be elite right there. I mean, if not, I mean,
him and DJ, Cole Kmet, DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. And if not, I mean, they have to get some compensation, trade him or whatever, and get some more draft picks for this year or next year or whatever. And take your Caleb Williams this year, take your lumps and bruises. I mean, if you guys want to be a winning franchise, I mean, figure out something. But Fields, I think it personally is a Lamar Jackson. He just hasn't been unleashed yet. But yeah, that's just my look at it.
No, that's an interesting take. And we were just mentioning Joe Flacco. We were mentioning Gardner Minshew a little bit ago. If you've listened to our stream or are new to us, or we've been on a lot of things. I mean, we've done weekly segments on waivers. We told you to go pick up Baker Mayfield. We told you to go get Gardner Minshew. Recently, we told you to go get Joe Flacco. A lot of these backup guys that are putting up starter numbers, if not better. I mean, there's another guy right now, Easton Stick from the Chargers, had 3 touchdowns and a pick. I mean, that's if you're in an emergency, if you're in an emergency in a 2-quarterback league, I mean, that's a serviceable stat line to help you in your matchup or whatever you're trying to do, consolation, or if you're in the semis, so a lot of this stuff has just been, it's been crazy to see. And that's why you pay attention. It's used to be able to just fall asleep at the wheel with these fantasy teams, like in the past. And your mom your mom could do it. Your sister could do it. Your two cousins that are Siamese twins could do it. Like anybody could do it. And I kind of like how it's a little more high maintenance now with all these injuries. It's a little more high maintenance. You got to keep track of things. And if you've been up on your team, you're probably in your final 4 in your leagues. If you've been making the proper adjustments, and these guys were readily available, like we were saying, Minshew, Baker, Flacco, all these sorts of guys. CJ Stroud, even maybe in a 10-man league, 10 or 12-man league, maybe week 1, 2, he would have been possibly available too, and you could have snagged him up. So there's a ton of guys. But yeah, no, that kind of closes up my thoughts on the games. Do you have any more thoughts on week 15?
No, I don't think so. I was actually just trying to see if Desmond Ridder. Sounds like Heineke will be playing this weekend. So
yep.
Desmond Ridder has more likely been benched. So, and this is, I'm actually hurting.
Here's Desmond Ridder. Here's Desmond. Here's him. Boom. Got punted out.
It's in deeper leagues right now because I have Levis. I went out and actually dropped a guy and I picked up Drew Lock just for Monday night. And now with Levis maybe being hurt, I have the options of between Mullins, Rudolph, DeVito, or Easton Stick for trying to help me advance farther into the playoff. Yes. So I am at
what I saw. It's tough. It's tough, Jay, because I just saw what Buffalo. I know Dak kind of shit the bed, but I saw what Buffalo just did to Dak, and the Easton Stick is I know it's in. That's basically a home game for the Bills. I mean, Chargers fans don't show up for their games. That's basically a home game. I don't know about Stick in this matchup. That's why I didn't include him in my waivers, because he had a bad matchup, I think, with the Bills.
Yeah.
DeVito against Philly, maybe. That's sketchy too. You're not really in a great spot, I don't think, with your options there.
Maybe Mullins. I might have to maybe go chase him. That'd be my best option. With
if he's
Mullins,
gonna, I think he's playing, because I saw a YouTube video today. O'Connell said that Mullins was going to start this week against the Lions. So I think and that's a pretty Lions defense isn't great. I mean, Mullins could. If he did what he did against the Bengals, that's a solid stat line. I'd go with Mullins over those two for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he had a pretty good weekend, 24 some odd points, 303 yards, 2 touchdowns. So it's not a bad lick to just snag him up and see what happens.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think that's your only play there.
Yeah, I believe so. Let's jump into our couple weekly players, and then Eli's got his waiver. We'll get those, and yeah. So over this weekend, I have Terry McLaurin as one of my weekly guys here. He, the last couple of years, he's actually flashed as a wide receiver one, really. I mean, even before Sam Howell got there, I mean, this guy was tearing it up. I mean, he's actually he had 3,000 yard seasons. His rookie year he had 7 touchdowns. This year he's only got 3 touchdowns, so you can kind of see between 2021 and 2022 he's only had 5 touchdowns, or 5 touchdowns apiece in those years. So this year you can kind of see that he's kind of dipped a little bit. I mean, he's only got 800 and some odd yards this year. I mean, he needs another 200 some odd yards to break even for about 1,000 some odd yards to kind of keep that on track a little bit. But yeah, other than that, he's actually this weekend, I think with them kind of changing it up with the quarterbacks, finally somebody's like, I'm going to get McLaurin the damn ball because I know what he can do. He's an electric player when he actually has the ball in his hands. So he went off for 27 some odd points. He had 12 targets, 6 receptions for 141 and a touchdown up in there. But the last time he's actually, seen this amount of targets was back in week 4. He had 22 fantasy points, 10 targets, 8 receptions, and 86 yards. But I mean, they should be using this guy a lot more, because I mean, if they can't get the run game going, we were just talking about, the Washington earlier here. I mean, get McLaurin the damn ball, because he can actually give you guys points. I mean, he's got good 50-50 ball skills. He's a great route runner. I mean, they have the weapons to actually get points, but they're just not. I just think offensively, they're just not getting it done how they should be getting it done.
They're so schizo. I mean, Howell puts up a lot of yards every week, but he doesn't really throw a lot of touch. He's only had 18 touchdowns, like 18 or 19, something like that, through the air. Which is, I mean, it's decent. I mean, there's a lot. You can do a lot worse than that, but his specialty is more the yards. And you think McLaurin would have more than 800 something yards with as many yards that are being spread around. But one week it'll be Samuel, one week it'll be Dotson, one week it'll be some random 5th receiver. It's all, or one of the running back. Gibson will lead. Gibson will lead him in targets in a week. So it's never really like I think McLaurin should, I don't get a sense that he's like that, but I'd request a trade. I mean, this this team's junk. Offense, Bieniemy, I don't think he knows what he's doing. I'll be honest. I mean, it's good for fantasy stats with Howell, but I don't think they know how to get the ball to McLaurin properly. I mean, this guy should be a top 15 receiver, like fantasy. He should be. He's got like you were saying, he's got all the tools. Deep threat, 50-50 balls. Yak, I mean, good hands, good route runner. He's damn near like a 5-tool receiver. There's no reason he shouldn't be up, in the upper echelon of the league. It's a crying shame.
Yeah, it is. And for Sam Howell for him throwing over 3,500 yards this season, him being a full starter this year, there should be no reason why, that McLaurin is not being used how he should be being used, and that's the thing about McLaurin is that, I mean, he can actually get past his defenders. I mean, he a lot of times he's open. I mean, just throw him the damn ball because he's electric. I mean, I've seen what he can do because I've had him on my teams, over his 4-year career, and it's just like all right, this guy's 1,000-yard, he's a 1,000-yard receiver, but I think he just hasn't really been unlocked because I think he can actually get more touchdowns in there. I mean, he could, I think he can be a 1,200-yard receiver, but it's just the offense is not really. They're just sputtering right now.
I think he'd be a DJ Moore. Like if he requested a trade or if they moved off him because they don't want to give him a big contract, which I get, because he could command in what, the low 20s, like low.
Well, they just.
Year. Oh, they did.
So they just signed he just signed a 3-year extension with them until.
Oh, he did. Okay, I wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, because they needed to get a year. Because this is his 4th year. He would have been more likely a free agent for this upcoming year, but they probably would have franchise tagged him and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it's with Washington not knowing what they're doing next year, especially with the coach maybe being fired, and with them maybe getting a new, I think they're working on a new stadium and people, new ownerships, not knowing, since you got, Magic Johnson and I think a couple other guys, who knows what the team's going to be like, with the new ownership taken under control. It's there's just a lot on hand to, for them having an identity, which I think they could have been good this year. I think they could have. I mean, Sam Howell was a guy that I even liked myself, and it sucks. It really does suck. Yeah, because he signed an extension for over $68 million. So I mean, they signed him for 3 years. So, but yeah, I mean, if they want to, I mean, they can cut him.
Yeah, that's about
22,
23 million a year.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So they, I mean, if it does come to it, I mean, they can always, cut him post, June 1st, so, all that, so it's, I mean, they can get out of it, may take a small cap hit here and there, but, after this year, I mean, he's totally cuttable too, but he signed an extension. Hopefully they can get their shit together and be better for next year. And we'll preview that after their draft. But yeah, well, I'll get into my other. But this kind of wraps up Terry McLaurin. He had a couple flashes this year. I just think he could have been better this year, which absolutely kind of sucks. I was actually going to take a look here real quick. I should have written this down, but yeah, I think he's not even. So McLaurin is actually a top 30 receiver right now, especially with the fantasy points. So yeah, he is a target monster, but it's not reflecting on Washington and his stats this year as well. So, but the other guy, hopefully maybe a lot of you guys have been paying attention, because we've been talking about this guy the last actually couple weeks now, and
Airing it up.
that's Trey McBride. He's a rookie this year, and hopefully some of you guys actually got him on your rosters, because the last 3 weeks this guy's actually
Second
been
year, Jay.
first year, I believe. His first year.
No, he was a second year. Trust me. He was the first tight end taken in the 2022 draft. It doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Yeah, as far as I know, it says experience 1, so it's kind of, yeah. But either way, I think yeah, never mind. Yeah, probably, yeah, him not being a rookie or whichever. I thought he was still a rookie or whichever. So, but yeah, just in general, this guy has actually been a top 10 tight end the last 3 weeks, and I even mentioned him. I'm not probably the last 3 weeks we told you to go out and snag up this guy.
Mhm.
But he's actually, 21 points over this weekend. He was out for 72% of snaps. I think he did kind of get injured, but he ended up coming back, playing that. He ended up coming back and playing. He actually had 11 targets, 10 receptions for 102 yards. No touchdowns, unfortunately, because I think they were playing the Niners. I don't know what the Niners give up to the tight end position there, but either way, this guy's been racking up some fantasy points either way for people. Especially for us in the fantasy kind of the dead zone of tight ends, and us scrambling to find tight ends to help us, maybe get 8 or 9 points just in general, because we don't have the Kelseys or the Andrews, so we have to find other people to kind of compensate for us not having guys like him. And Trey McBride is one guy that I've actually liked, and just been kind of starting to pay attention to him a little bit more, because the Arizona Cardinals don't really have anybody to really be throwing to right now, because they don't have Michael Wilson. Hollywood is nowhere to be seen. Rondale Moore hasn't really done anything. I mean, I think Connor had a pretty good weekend from the sounds of it. And yeah, it's just, Murray doesn't have anybody else to throw to. So Trey McBride is the only guy they can toss the damn ball to, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, it's true. Like the last couple weeks, it's just been the two tight ends, McBride and the rookie Higgins. I mean, that's it. He can't. I mean, Rondale's been MIA. Michael Wilson's hurt. We start going down the list. Yeah, Hollywood Brown's banged up, but he hasn't done a lot the last few weeks. So, yeah, where else is Kyler going to go with the football? So, yeah, Trey McBride, especially if you had Mark Andrews and you were, he went down for the year and you were devastated, like, oh, I lost my top 5 tight end. This guy has been, since he got the full-time job from Zach Ertz, he's been a top 5 fantasy tight end. I mean, it's been him, Laporta, Kelsey, Kittle, and probably somebody else. But Trey McBride has been tearing it up, and he was a free agent. I mean, you could have picked him up on the waivers half of this year.
Yeah, it's funny to say that. I mean, we have 2 rookies. Well, pretty much 2 kind of. I mean, you can say 2 rookies.
He's kind of I get your point. He's kind of a rookie. We'll call him a rookie.
Yeah,
he was redshirted. Literally.
Yeah. You have Sam Laporta up in there and Trey McBride, pretty much in the top 10 for, fantasy, tight ends. It's, I was just looking at it before we even started and whatnot, what's the heck is I was going to say, you got TJ's actually up there. He's actually first. Yeah, Kelsey. You got Sam Laporta third. Kittle, Mike Evans, David Njoku, Cole Kmet, and then Trey McBride. So I mean, it's been an interesting year of tight ends. Travis Kelsey is still a top 5 guy, but not top. He's not in the first place. For the main guy, so I mean, you kind of got some other adventures, other guys are kind of blossoming, as you can say. I mean, you got your Daltons, you got your, Njoku's kind of been hit and miss, but he's been kind of coming on these last couple of years or this last couple of games here, and then you got like your Jake Ferguson, So, I mean, I think Trey McBride can be a guy that we can actually start taking a look at, maybe, especially when it comes to tight ends, if he's getting all these targets now, this is a guy maybe we can kind of look into 2024 and, maybe be a top 10, or even a top 5-ish, maybe somewhere in between there, a tight end that we might want to have, we might want to draft for next year, instead of him being on the waiver wire. So
yeah, he'll be a top 10 drafted tight end next year. I can guarantee you that. Top 5, no, because Mark Andrews will be back healthy. Travis Kelce, I think he's getting long in the tooth, but same with Kittle. Kittle's getting older, but I think they got at least one more prime year left, and go. I'd say 7th or 8th tight end off the board. The way especially the last couple games, he tears it up. He tears it up, Jay, these last couple games, which he will, because the Cardinals don't have anywhere else the football. It's going to change people's opinions. They're like, oh, that McBride. I mean, he's a stud.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that kind of wraps up Trey McBride in my for my couple highlighted players for the weekend. So,
yep,
yeah, Eli's got a couple guys for you. Then we'll head into Eli's waivers for the weekend or for this upcoming week, and then I think we're not doing no college spotlight this weekend either, or this week, and then we'll just kind of do some DFS stuff here real quick.
Yep. You got James Cook from the Buffalo Bills. This is a special edition episode because you're not just getting one gold star, you're getting 2 of them. Okay? 2. Bartender, I don't want 1 shot. I want 2 of that. So with all the drinking Jay was doing this past weekend. What? All the drinking Jay was doing this past weekend. It's only fitting. You know what? He's been a revelation. He really has.
Who the hell is this guy?
79 yards. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what people were wondering half the year. Who the hell or where the hell is James Cook? He's been out like gangbusters. But basically been him, CMC, and Kyron Williams the second half of the year that have been the 3 backs tearing it up. I mean, consistently. 179 yards and a touchdown this past weekend against Dallas. This season, when you combine his receiving and rushing yards, he's got over 1,400 all-purpose yards. Like, you wouldn't even think that. You wouldn't think that from James Cook because you don't think of the Bills having a top 10-ish running back, but they do. I mean, he's turned into a top 10 fantasy running back. I mean, that you combine it's the same thing with Rachaad White last week. We just talked about Rachaad White. Similar situation here where he's kind of deceptively had a great year. And I think going forward, the Bills are going to keep this running. I mean, it works. They've been winning games, on the ground between him, Latavius Murray, Ty Johnson, kind of being the third man. So whatever they're doing, it's working. And if you got shares of James Cook, he's an automatic start. Yeah, don't even think about benching him your last 2. If you're in a fantasy semis or the championship, don't even think about benching him. Keep him in there. Any thoughts on James Cook?
Yeah. If you want my thoughts on James Cooks, go back on our YouTube highlighted players of the week. And there's some juicy content in there that, we just recapped on James Cooks. So if you want my opinion, go and check that out right now. It's out there. Go click the links over there. It's only like, I think 6 minutes. So go over there. If you want our recap on James Cook, go over there and check that out right now.
Yep. Because Jay ain't going to say anything. You got to go over and watch the video if you want his opinion on James Cook. Because I'm going to move to my second guy because we got to get moving along here. Be sure you go over and do that. Josh Palmer, you might have had Josh Palmer earlier in the year. I haven't as a gold star player. Thought I'd give him his flowers. This is my number 2 guy this week, my number 2 gold star, handing him, filling up the fridge. I mean, we probably got 20 gold stars in the fridge by now. 4 catches, 113 yards, and a tutty. he's been banged up, so I'm not gonna rail on him a lot. He's only got 27 grabs on 43 targets, a little less than 500 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's been banged up a lot of the year. I think their passing game, Justin Herbert would have been a lot better off. Had he been around. I think he's I think he's one of the best number 3, if not the best number 3 receivers in the league. Josh Palmer. With the emergence of Quentin Johnston the last couple weeks, Quentin Johnston and Josh Palmer, it's kind of a lost season. Obviously, they just shit can their coach, and I mean the team's been a mess. But there's some silver linings. You got Josh Palmer to going into 2024. I know Keenan Allen kind of wasted it. There you go. You got the card. Yeah. Josh Palmer. I think they're going to let Mike Williams go. Keenan Allen's probably got at least one more productive year left. So going into next year, you would assume it's Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer maybe as the 2, and Quentin Johnston. If Quentin Johnston can keep putting up solid numbers, I mean he's not breaking the world on fire, but 3 grabs, 91 yards, stat line like that. He's been last couple weeks he's been putting up something similar to that. He's kind of slowly coming along, but he's kind of coming along. They get the right coach in there. They can fix this real quick because Justin Herbert's not as bad as he looked, and I think they still got some players. I think they're gonna have to draft a running back or sign one because Austin Eckler he's shot. Yeah, I said it. You can blame schemes or blame Kellen Moore, whoever the hell you want. Austin Eckler single-handedly cost people in fantasy. He did. He kept you. You had him. You took him high, which I don't blame you for. I mean, he's Austin Eckler. He cost you a spot in your fantasy playoffs more than likely. Those are my thoughts on Josh Palmer and the pathetic Los Angeles Chargers. Any thoughts?
Yeah, we did. We had some highlighted. I think we talked about him a little bit. We had a highlighted segment. I had a highlighted segment of Josh Palmer because at first I was kind of like, I really wasn't a fan of him, and or was it one of the other guys that was just like, start him against the Chiefs, and he'll have yourself a heyday. The only time you can actually start him is against the Chiefs. That might have been the other.
Last year that was when he. Yeah, the only games he'd go for 100 yards were against the Chiefs last year.
Yeah, but yeah, he's kind of a hit. We kind of talked about him this summer too as well. QJ, he had a touchdown, which was a nice thing to see. But yeah, with Palmer kind of being either the 2 or 3. I mean, he's not a bad player. At first I was kind of like, screw this guy. I don't like him, but yada yada yada. But now he kind of opened my eyes a little bit more on him kind of being involved in offense just a little bit. It's if somebody's injured, he can come in and kind of fill in some of those empty spots. So he's kind of like a wide receiver forward, just kind of hanging there. But overall, I mean, I like him. He's not a bad player at all. Those are my thoughts.
And those are my well, always appreciate your thoughts, buddy. Gonna move on. Jay's got his 2 players out of the way. I got my 2 players. We're gonna get to one. We're not doing the college spotlight this week, obviously. We gotta cut out some stuff. We don't want it to be another 2-hour stream, and Jay out of town, so we're gonna skip the college spotlight, and we'll basically just stick. We're gonna call this the Dynasty Riser because a lot of these guys I've been mentioning, Xavier Gipson. Last week it was Chase Brown. Chase Brown is emerging. He's emerging more than a dynasty guy. He's a guy that's on your bench in your 12-man ESPN Yahoo team. I mean, Chase Brown is really emerging. But there's some of these other guys that are kind of, slowly popping, slowly getting targets or slowly getting carries. And we kind of put them more in the dynasty, like on your bench. Hold on to this guy possibly, into 2024 and just see what he becomes. And there's another one here. Elijah Higgins from the Cardinals, 6th-round pick out of Stanford. He had decent stat for Stanford. I mean, 704 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a decent stat line. I know they didn't have a bowl game because Stanford's been junk, since David Shaw, has been gone, or Harbaugh, years ago. So they haven't done anything. So that's not bad. I mean, that for tight end numbers, like I said, 6th-round pick. He only had 2 grabs the first 12 weeks of the season. Only 2 grabs on 4 targets. I mean, just MIA, non-existent, and a lot of that had to do with Zach Ertz was still it was him, it was Ertz and McBride, and then eventually they cut Zach Ertz. McBride we know what he's become. I mean, he's been tearing it up. But now Higgins has kind of moved into that Zach Ertz role. And the last 3 weeks, he's had 6 grabs on 8 targets, 91 yards, and a touchdown. So he's kind of slowly emerging. And he had his best game this past weekend against San Francisco, 4 grabs, 44 yards, and a touchdown. So, he's slowly on the trajectory up. And yeah. So in Dynasty, and he's going to be in the waiver. He might be, if you guys do sleeper or, some kind of other formatted Dynasty, maybe he's the 24th ranked free agent right now. You go down a list of like waiver available. He might be somewhere in the 24th, 30th, something like that. I'd go snag him up. If you got a roster spot, like if you have some guys in IR and you got a roster spot, I'd stick him on your bench and just see what he does the last couple weeks, because we're gonna find out a lot about the Cardinals tight ends here, because like we were saying in the last segment, they have no receivers to throw. Kyler's got nobody to throw it to other than the tight ends. Any thoughts on Elijah Higgins?
I don't know much about him, and I guess it'll be a guy I'll just kind of keep an eye on and just kind of check in on him in time to time, because our fantasy season's about over with. So, but yeah, no, it's a guy to probably take a look at. Who knows? It might be a guy we probably talk about in the off season. So you just never know. That's for sure.
Yeah, especially he puts up another 4-catch, 44-yard touchdown game. He definitely going to be getting some attention in the offseason. Definitely. Do you want to hit the little video button and then we can do the waivers?
Oh no, I didn't even make it because I wasn't quite sure for just.
Oh, really?
So I just figured. Yeah.
Okay.
So I just figured.
Okay.
I just figured.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna rip the bandage off. All right. It's gone. So let's go right into waivers then. I don't need no stinking intro. So usually I do under 20%. So I do under 20%, and then Jay usually does, his sleeper 6. He does deeper cuts. Like I said, he was busy with stuff this past weekend, so we kind of combined it all into one. And so I'm going to do and I base it off Yahoo. So I do my Yahoo 5 under 20% roster guys, and then we'll do like 5 miscellaneous guys that you should be able to get, but they might be a higher percentage owned. So we'll start off with the 5 guys under 20%. Number 1, Tucker Kraft. He's been playing out. He had 15 fantasy points again. I know the Packers lost, but he's been playing great. I think he should get at least another week before Musgrave comes back. I mean, it's questionable if Musgrave's going to play this weekend, but it's a safe bet. If you've got a roster spot, Tucker Kraft, the way he's been playing like a top 15 fantasy tight end. I'd go snag him up. If you're in a consolation bracket, who the hell knows? Dynasty, definitely. Tucker Kraft should definitely be somewhere on your Dynasty roster. Only 10% rostered in Yahoo. Dontavian Wicks, he's been really emerging too. Jaden Reed's got the toe issue. Christian Watson can't make up his mind if he's going to play or not. Dobbs is, kind of been MIA the last couple weeks, not doing his usual stat line. So it's really been Wicks has been the guy benefiting. Yeah, it's hard now because you're not really looking for. I know it's hard doing this segment because we're not, we know people that are still alive. In the semis, they're not really looking for bench guys. They're looking for, hey, can I plug this guy in and start him? In a 16-man in desperation, Wicks would be fine. I think that's break upon emergency. Get the fire extinguisher out. I think that's where he's best suited. I don't know if you can just stick him in a semifinals, 12-man matchup, for example. So get to number 3, Justice Hill. And he'd basically be taking the place of Keaton Mitchell. I think Gus Edwards is still the feature back, so he would kind of be the second guy. Another situation where Keaton Mitchell, Hill doesn't have the burst. He's not he's just not a playmaker like Keaton Mitchell. But like I said, similar situation to Wicks, 16-man desperation. You're somehow in the semis or you're in a consolation. You don't want to be the last place finisher and get a toilet bowl or whatever. Whatever the misfortune is if you lose your league, go pick up Justice Hill, 13% rostered. Demarcus Robinson, 8% roster. I had number 4. He's really been tearing it up. Stafford's been on this run the last 3 or 4 games, and it's been, obviously Cooper Kupp has been unstoppable. Puka, and then Demarcus Robinson's been their number 3, and he's been a revelation. They got rid of Van Jefferson and Robinson. Touchdown, at least a touchdown in the last 3 games. Been super impressed with him. It's another guy, and these guys here, all of them, maybe except Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft, I think you could probably, if he's going to play one more week, like if he's going to fill in for Musgrave, I think if you had to, you could start him in like a 12-man and be okay. Rest of these guys, use your discretion. If you're in an emergency, you have an emergency receiver injury. Let's say you had Zay Jones, your 16-man, he was your flex guy or something, and he's out this week, then you go get Demarcus Robinson. That'd be a good consolation there. And then number 5, I put Drew Lock because it's worth kicking the tires on, because if Geno is not going to play, and I have I'm in a couple of them. I'm in 4 of my 5 leagues. I'm in the semis in. So, and I've got 2 shares of Geno Smith. So I'm in this boat too, where, okay, do you hold on to Geno? Do you move off him? Like where do you stand? And both of them are in redraft Yahoo leagues. So this is a perfect analogy here. I don't know. We'll have to see how the week goes. Drew Lock there isn't going to be a big swarm of people to go get Drew Lock, tonight, when the waivers come in, or if your league does Thursdays or whatever. But they don't play till this weekend. So you got some time. I would say if Drew Lock's still available on Friday, and if he is going to start, I'd go snag him up because he's got weapons. JSN, DK, Lockett, the running backs. I mean, he's got enough weapons where he should be able to put up a 200-yard, 2-touchdown stat line. And I think in a 2-quarterback league, as your second quarterback, I think he's perfect. I would feel comfortable if Drew Lock is starting. I would feel comfortable him being my second quarterback in like a 12-man, 2-quarterback league. And if you're playing in your semis or whatever your situation is. And those are my 5 kind of universal guys. You can get them in just about any size league. Any thoughts on these guys, Jay? Before I move on.
Kraft is not a bad. Wicks has been kind of deep for deeper leagues. Wicks is good. Justice Hill, not for them, for the Ravens losing Mitchell. Yeah, not a bad idea there. Robinson, yeah, if you need somebody in a pinch, yeah, not a bad idea. And Locke, I'm just going to mention just a couple of guys too as well. I mean, if you really need somebody, Nate McMullins, he's at Detroit. That's indoors, so not a bad option there. He had a pretty good outing here against the Bengals. If you're really in a pinch, like me, maybe Tyler Heineke, because he's not playing and they're playing at Indy. And Heineke, we all know Heineke can put up numbers if all comes down to it. I would stay away from Rudolph. DeVito.
Oh, God. Why is he starting?
Yeah, those are a couple of guys for QB leagues. If you really need somebody, maybe Easton Stick. That's just some of the guys that are out there. The other guys I was kind of looking look at here quick too. Joe Flacco is out there in 12-man leagues. Gardner Minshew is out there too as well, and probably could be out there in some of your leagues. There's really not. I mean, if you really need somebody, Ty Chandler is out there. I think Addison might be out again this week. I'm not sure. But yeah, the wide receivers is looking pretty slim. I mean, if you're just, especially in deeper leagues, I mean, if you really need some help in deeper leagues, I mean, there's only a few and select guys out there. Don't forget Trey Sermon is a guy you probably need to go out and pick up tonight, just in case Moss does not play. So you got Trey Sermon wrapped up in those situations. So yeah, just make sure to go out and snag him up. But especially in some deeper leagues, Gardner Minshew is still out there. Nick McMullins. If you really need somebody, Heineke, I just said that. So I mean, other than that, I mean, those are some guys. With Mitchell being lost, Justice Hill is probably a guy you want to snag up right away in deeper leagues. Even though they signed Melvin Gordon, they signed to the. I think they brought him up now to the 53-man roster now. So, but I don't think he'll be irrelevant in that situation. But I mean, other than that, Donovan Wicks, Eli said for deeper leagues, I agree with that. I don't think there's really much any other guys you can really trust in deeper leagues. I mean, Demarcus Robinson might be the only other guy, but those are just some few quick guys just for sleeper, real quick, if you guys are looking. But I mean, those are from what I see out there.
Yep. And I think if I could extend this to 6, I'd put Nick Mullins at 6, because I think Nick Mullins could, if you had to start him, you know, in like a 2-quarterback league, 12-man 2-quarterback, you're in your semis.
Yeah.
I think you could comfortably put Nick Mullins in, because Detroit's defense isn't very good. So I could see a similar stat line to what he did against Cincy. And then, yeah, Trey Sermon, he's somebody you have in the emergency position. You know, if Zach, because Zach Moss has been a fantasy monster. He really has been. That whole, you know, Jonathan Taylor before he got hurt was Zach Moss. You know, it's that Shane Steichen offense. So I think Trey Sermon, who I think he had 80 something yards this past weekend, he might, if he's getting the full workload, he might be, you know, or at least for DFS. I mean, at the very least, you can get some benefit from Trey Sermon if you go out and snag him for whatever, you know, a DFS purpose or a you know, a matchup purpose, whatever you use them for. And then just to continue on this, so these are miscellaneous percentages. Usually Jay does this with Sleeper, and they should be comparable. So ESPN, Sleeper, you know, whatever you know, platform you do fantasy on. And these are just guys and these are more guys that you can like plug and play. That, okay, if you have an injury and you're in a semi, you're in a pinch, I'd feel comfortable with Ty Chandler, especially like Jay was saying, if Jordan Addison's out, you know, or Madison too. If I had that right, Madison, Addison. It sounds like a law, like a like lawyer office or something. Yeah, Chandler, you know, he just had probably his best career game this past weekend, and they're playing Detroit's defense, so definitely a pickup for him. Gardner Minshew, I don't know why he's not more rostered. He's 26% rostered. It's ridiculous. You know, Minshew, if you're in an emergency at quarterback, especially if you had Geno as your starter, and you know Geno's out and you can't get anybody else, I'd put Gardner Minshew in there and take my chances. If you're in a semi like I am, I might be in this situation. I might have to go get Gardner Minshew and start him and hope that I can win the matchup. Hunter Henry, that's another crime that he's only at 24% rostered. He's one of the few bright spots in the Patriots offense. You know, if you need a tight end, if you're he's an emergency tight end. I don't think he's a, you know, like a 10-man, you know, if you're in a 10-man playoff or a 12-man playoff, probably not. But a 16-man, if you need a tight end for the week, I go, you know, deeper league, I'll go pick him up and you can start him right away. Curtis Samuel, 37% roster, number 4. Another guy, he's so inconsistent. You have to get him on the week that he you know has, you know, 6 grabs, 110 yards and a tutty. You know, you gotta catch him on certain weeks because he might shit the bed. And then, you know, if you plug and play, so he would be an emergency break glass only. Like if you absolutely have to have a receiver or a flex guy. And then Roschon Johnson, I put at number 5 at 21%. Because I noticed people were picking him up, and Khalil Herbert hasn't been doing hardly anything. I mean, the Bears' run game has been junk. I know Foreman, you know, just it's been a lot of blah. So it's where, you know, Roschon is not a guy I would start. So these last 2 guys are not guys that they would be bench guys, just in case something weird happens, because stuff does happen. You pull a hammy in practice or something happens Friday, Saturday, where you like, oh shit, this guy's out. Oh shit, this running back is Kenneth Walker's out. You know, and then you can go and you can get a Roschon Johnson, and maybe he can catch you some passes. Maybe he can get you 10 fantasy points or something. So the first 3 you could probably plug and play in your semis or whatever your deal is, and then the last 2 I would just have them on your bench if you got roster spots.
Yep.
And then let's see. So no more thoughts on waivers. So we're gonna finish it up on some DFS here. I'm rolling here. Monday. We're selling stuff here. Selling you on some bargains here. Got Monday. Yep. Get the shopping cart ready. Doing a little extra shopping. We're gonna add more. You know, we got more in the budget this week, so we're gonna do 10 guys instead of 5. Start you off with shocker.
What?
We're gonna keep it at under what? So the first 5 guys, we're keeping it under 5,500. That's the rules of the game. I've been doing it all season long, and these are the bargains. These are the guys that, you know, you can't have 9 Tyreeks. Can't have 9 McCaffreys. Can't have 9 Jalen Hurts. You got to mix and match and put together a team to help win you some of that good money. Number 1, Tucker Kraft, and this is based on if he's going to get starter reps. Like if Musgrave is going to be out another week, which I would assume so, because they're playing Carolina, they don't need him. Green Bay's got 2 big matchups at the end of the year if they want to try to get into the playoffs. So I would assume Tucker Kraft is going to play at least one more week. That's why I put him at number 1. He's a steal. Curtis Samuel, we just talked about him too. And that's another one you're just crossing your fingers. Like if that's the week that he's going to pop. He's playing one against one of the worst pass defenses too. So maybe him and McLaurin, maybe, but obviously McLaurin's more expensive, but you get my point. Like maybe Howell will put one of his 390-yard passing games together and be good for everybody. Joe Flacco, number 3, because why the hell not? He's right at the 55 threshold. Flacco has been, ever since that Rams game, he's been tearing it up, been averaging, over 300 yards a game. So I'd feel safe putting Flacco in there. Absolutely. Number 4, talked about him earlier, Josh Palmer. A lot of recurring guys here. Palmer, right now, I mean, he's not a classic sense number 1 receiver, but if Keenan Allen's not 100%, Mike Williams out for the year, Quentin Johnston still finding his footing. Josh Palmer going forward with Easton Stick might be their number 1 receiver the rest of the season. So, 5,000. I thought that was a good deal. Yeah, it'll be, who knows? That's all based on Keenan Allen. Sticker. And number 5, Justice Hill. And that's just, taking a flyer on him. 4,000 for running back is cheap. And, there's probably a couple other guys you could put in that spot. But I just thought maybe if he can get a cheap touchdown, maybe he can break one, get a cheap touchdown, that'll get you over the hump in that sense. Any thoughts on my bargain 5?
Flacco, I think Flacco's not a bad one. I think if you want to get some more like wide receivers, kind of more higher end, I mean, Kraft could be a guy you can kind of sneak in there, So I mean, I like Flacco and Kraft in these situations. Samuel's still kind of hit and miss. You just don't know what they're gonna do here. But yeah, with Justice Hill, I think Gus will be kind of take back over that, probably 1-2 punch, for a second, and then he'll maybe third down roll, and so I mean, Gus was kind of like pretty much like their goal line back really when it came to it. They were kind of using Mitchell as kind of like their 1-2 guy to kind of get them down the field, and then Justice Hill Gus was kind of like their goal line kind of back. Hill could be kind of the same. They're kind of similar because I mean Hill can get it in on the goal line too as well. I mean he could get you probably a cheap touchdown too. I mean other than that, it's not a bad list. It's not a bad list at all. But I like Flacco though.
So Flacco, we're going to carry him over to the best bets. This is actually a new segment. So I'm gonna push the shopping cart. How people always leave them in the parking lot. We're neither of us are that kind of level of asshole. But some people like to leave them, flipped over wherever the hell in the Walmart parking lot. I don't like it one bit. So I'm gonna go with the best bets here. And these are guys that I just think are gonna pop. I think regardless of price, they're either in good matchups or they're on fire. They've been trending upward. First, I'll start off with I'm going to combine number 1 and number 3, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. I mean, the Chargers have, I think, either the 3rd worst or the worst pass defense in the league. Just junk. The teams quit. This could be one of those. Remember earlier in the year, the Bills were beating everybody. They're blowing the doors off like 48-14 or something. They were whooping everybody's ass. This is gonna be one of those. This is gonna be one of those games. They're gonna kill the Chargers, and I'll take Diggs and Allen, and then give me a bunch of those cheap guys, and let's go to war. So I'll combine those two. Number 2, DeAndre Swift. Giants have one of the worst rushing defense in the league. So DeAndre Swift, he's had his moments this year. I think he's played pretty damn good. 6,100. That's not a bad price either. To probably end up with at least he'll get at least a touchdown. I would assume. I think Philly's going to take out some frustration on the Giants. So I feel comfortable with him at number 2. Mike Evans has been on a tear with the Bucs. I put him at number 4. I know Chris Godwin kind of went off this past weekend, but I mean, it just seems like like there's a stretch where Mike Williams is just like I don't know where you'll look up at the stat line, 8 catches, 156 yards and a tutty. So you're just kind of hoping for one of those games against Jacksonville's defense. And Jacksonville's defense has been getting bludgeoned a lot lately, so I wouldn't be shocked if Baker and Mike Evans went off here. And then Evan Ingram, in the same sense. I mean, our secondary's junk. So with the receivers banged up the way they are, if Zay Jones is out, we know Christian Kirk's out for the rest of the year. Calvin Ridley is not what he was earlier in the season. Parker Washington's hit and miss. He only had 2 catches this past game. Agnew, just go down a list of Jags receivers. I don't really trust a lot of them. So Evan Ingram would be the most solid pick, I would say. And at 5,400, that's still a good price for a tight end. So I think you take a couple of these guys and then you mix them with 6 or 7 of the cheaper guys. Maybe grab like 2 guys of this, 1 or 2 of your own choice, and 5 of the cheaper guys, and I think you'll be fine. Any thoughts on these 5?
Yeah, not bad. I mean, Alan Diggs, maybe they have a resurgence, and Diggs gets a 25-point game, a couple touchdowns, or 100 yards, 140 yards and a touchdown or something. Swift, yeah, he's kind of been hit and miss too a little. I mean, he's with the Eagles kind of losing these last 3 games in a row, and maybe this will be a resurgence for these guys, and the Eagles kind of go out and get a bang and just start tossing touchdowns or getting into touchdowns and stuff like that, So, yeah, not bad. Evans. Yeah, Evans is Evans. I mean, he's a 1,000-yard receiver every year, so I mean, you can't go wrong with him either. So, yeah, not a bad list. I like it. Not bad at all.
Yeah. That was a good, the stream moved by pretty slick tonight, and based on like I said, we had other stuff going on, so we put something together. We hope that we helped out. If you guys are still alive, in your semis, or if you're in a consolation bracket and you don't want to be the this is the last place finisher, and then have somebody, you get an Amazon package of a toilet bowl trophy or something. You want to stay out of the cellar, we get it. So we think if you guys are still involved in that, yeah, right. If you guys are still alive, so we tried to set you up for success there. Or if you want to do DFS or gambling, we put all the point spreads on the bottom. If you want to bet on some games, 49ers Ravens, that's a good one to bet on. Dallas Miami, that's another damn good. I can't wait for that one. So there's Bucks and Jags. That's an even spread. So there's some whatever your speed is. We set you up tonight for a bunch of different things and give you a few injury updates too for a couple guys that might be out. And you might want to find replacements for Hollywood Brown for sure. Yep. Maybe Zay Jones. Maybe Dalton Kincaid. Maybe you need to go get Dawson Knox if he's available. And fill in at tight end for Kincaid. So
Chase sounds like Chase will be out this week too as well, so that kind of hurts me, but I'm out of the playoffs in some of my leagues anyway. So in most leagues that I was in the playoffs it kind of went a one and done and kind of out. So I am alive in I'm in live in 3 yet. So, but my NFL fantasies ones have not started yet. So I think after this week, then it's week 16 and 17. Should be in some hopes from those. But far as sleeper, actually in the IDP league, actually the only one I am live in for a championship in that one. Dynasty, I'm out, and yeah, it was kind of a crap weekend, but it is what it is. It's fantasy football. We live and learn, and we live another day, man. But yeah. But yeah,
and we want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Like I said, share the video. We know you probably know some people that are still alive in fantasy. Holy hell, you guys are still going. Yeah, Donovan. Yeah. We're genetic jackhammers. We can go all night long, baby. Don't. If you know somebody that needs some help in last minute pinch, or wants to do a little bit of betting on FanDuel or DraftKings or Yahoo, they have daily stuff you can you can go and check out. And then go back, like we said, mentioned at the beginning of the show. Go back and watch any of the older streams because we have, not to toot our horn, but toot. We've hit on a bunch of stuff this year. You would have known about a lot of these players. It would have set your dynasty team up for success. It would have set your redraft team up for success on Yahoo or ESPN or whatever you do. Had you gone back and listened in July, August, September, October, November. Now we're in December. This episode is going to be up. It's going to be up on Spotify, and we're also on Apple, Google, Podbean, couple different platforms. You can find YouTube. You can find us. We tried Instagram, but Instagram just they gave us the old fist in the ass. So we'll have to reassess that shit. But
yeah, it's a work in progress. I'll do a little more fine tuning and digging into it. It was just kind of a trial error kind of thing. But I think going forward, maybe this upcoming week, I'm going to try to get us on Instagram. So if you guys are on Instagram, look up Out of Rhythm Fantasy Sports on Instagram. I've kind of posted a few things there, but I mean, I haven't really been too active, but I figured maybe doing some live shows over there, get some people in and reacting, try to get us boosted a little bit more, just try to get us out there, people jumping into the channel. Just I'm just trying to some different things here to just get us going, get some people, get some more followers in the off season, and help you guys prepare, just prepare for this upcoming 2024 season. Just dynasty, just talk more NFL prospects and stuff like that, because we have the college bowls going on right now, and then we got then we'll have the Shriner East and West, and then we'll have the Senior Bowl, and all that stuff. So a lot of that stuff I'll be looking into, watching a lot of that stuff too here as well, and the draft will be here before we all even know it too. So yeah, we just want to get
and like Jay was saying, we'll not sure what we're gonna do next week yet, but there will be a stream. We'll figure that out. Maybe if we have to move it to Wednesday because of Christmas or Tuesday, we'll figure that out, and we're gonna say we're gonna meet up and we'll figure out what we're gonna do. But it might just be some spotlight. We might review some of the players from this past year, like who were like the full year. We did like weekly risers or couple week risers. Maybe we'll do a full season, like who elevated their stock significantly. Maybe some of the NFL guys are on the college side. Maybe we've run one spotlight. Maybe we'll do a few spotlights and take a little more time on each player. And because there's a ton of prospects, man. There's at least probably 400 or 500 ready to go for the NFL draft. Like, so there's a lot of guys to get into, a lot of skill position guys.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's some guys that are, just especially with the bowls kind of going on, people, opting out of the bowls, getting ready, so they don't injure themselves, get them ready for themselves for the combine and all that stuff, because that'll be coming up here pretty soon too as well. All that combine stuff will be going on and whatnot. So I mean, yeah, just a lot of prospects and whatnot, so yeah, there's just tons and tons and stuff. Tons and tons and tons, but yeah, other than that, we'll figure out next week for sure, because we're getting close to Christmas time and all that stuff. Maybe I think Christmas is on a Sunday, so we should be able to snag in one more stream next week, I believe.
Yep.
No. Oh, Christmas is on the 25th, so yeah,
Either Tuesday or Wednesday. Either Tuesday or Wednesday, we will get some kind of content up. It, like I said, it's the end of the fantasy year, so it won't be formatted like this. 85 to 90% of people, it's just championship matchups. For that going into week 17. So we'll have some content. We'll come up with something. And so we just hope you guys tune in and share. Spread the gospel and help us out. Help us get some footing.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that's gonna wrap up. I think we'll maybe Wednesday next week or so, but we'll figure it out. We'll just figure out something. We'll brainstorm and try to figure out something next week or something. So yeah, we'll find out. We'll let you guys know. If not, if we don't have a stream next week, just get in our Discord and just we'll chit chat and whatnot, and we'll think about, maybe, jumping in a stream, in the new year in 2024. So if you don't see us this upcoming week, you'll see us in 2024 for sure. So we'll figure that out then. So until, is there anything else, Eli? If not, we'll get the hell up out of here.
Nope. Just go support Donovan if like he's getting baseball cranked up. Go over and watch Out of Rhythm Baseball, Splitting Seeds with Donovan, and keep supporting us. We should be, but we definitely won't see you before Christmas. So have a happy Christmas. Get where you got to get safely, and have a good one with your families and friends.
Yes. Yeah. If you guys don't see us, Merry Christmas to all. Just enjoy yourself with your families. Just don't forget football is there. Just enjoy your family. Have fun.
Yeah.
If you have to scoot off, maybe check your lineups or balls real quick. But enjoy your family. That's a given, because life is too short sometimes. So, but yeah. Other than that, Merry Christmas from the boys from Out of Rhythm. So, other than that, I think we're gonna get the hell up out of here. We'll see you guys next time. So, I'm Jamie. That's Eli. We will see you guys next time.
Ho, 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 bitches.